Hey everybody, Johnny Mac here. You know what? Don't miss out. You've got to try this. It's a family-friendly back-to-school casserole recipe, or a cool weather, hearty comfort food classic. With easily accessible ingredients that you probably have at home, I'm going to show you how to make a loaded chicken Alfredo casserole recipe. Let's begin with the prep work, shall we? A nice and easy way to prepare the chicken for this homemade casserole recipe is to poach it. You'll need at least 3 cups of shredded chicken in the end, so 3 chicken breasts, that should do the job. Poach these guys for at least 15 minutes or until cooked all the way through. If you're going for a quick and easy casserole option, a rotisserie chicken would do the job. The next ingredient you're going to want to work with is the pasta. It takes the second longest time to prep. To a boiling pot of water, add a generous amount of salt, then drop in your pasta. I'm using 16 ounces of dry penne pasta. Cook the pasta all the way through per the manufacturer's instructions. While the pasta and chicken cook away, you can work on the next item up to bat, the broccoli. Yes, this is a chicken Alfredo casserole with vegetables. Come on, it's gotta be a little healthy. It's a family-friendly recipe. And don't forget, you're making a loaded casserole recipe here, so we're just starting to warm up on those ingredients. For the fresh broccoli, chop off the heads. You can use the stem if you like, but I'm not gonna use it for this recipe. But in the end, you'll need at least 2 cups of chopped broccoli. If you wanna stick to that fast recipe, you could also use frozen broccoli. Put the broccoli into a pot with some water, cook until tender. Nice work, so far so good. While those 3 ingredients for the prep work cook away on the stove ever so gently, by the time they're done cooking, the prep work will be complete. Your from scratch, creamy delicious Alfredo sauce will be nearly done, and then you can throw everything together. For your sauce, you'll need at least 1 cup of shredded Parmesan. That's about 63 grams. For a rich and creamy sauce, it's best to shred it yourself. Moving right along, it's time for the fun part, the shrubbery. And if you're looking for a non-bland Alfredo sauce, the fresh herbs or herbs, tomato, however you want to say it, that's definitely the way to go. Start off with some fresh oregano, remove the leaves from the stem, grab your board, grab your blade, and get a little choppy. For the ultimate flavor and the best results, wash your shrubbery and completely dry it before you get a little choppy on it. That way you don't leave flavor on the board, it'll go into your sauce. Next item up for task, basil. I'm using 3 stems of basil. Remove the leaves, keep the stems. I'm gonna show you how you can add some more flavor to that Alfredo sauce with the stems. So let's get a little fancy. I'm gonna show you how to chiffonade this basil leaf. It's a clean, easy way to cut these big, large basil leaves. Remove those leaves from the stem and start stacking them up. Usually you wanna put the bigger leaves on the bottom and the smaller up towards the top. They kinda just stack easier that way. Once they're stacked, roll them up into a tight little log. Then you can place it on the board and chop away. So these are the chiffonade cuts. You can keep it like this, or you could take it one step further and chop it up into smaller pieces. Kudos to you, you're really knocking out the prep work. The last herb that you'll need to chop up, flat leaf parsley. Just a handful, that's all you need. For the most part, we're gonna be using the leaves for this recipe, but with that said, don't throw away the stems. You can use those in other recipes, and I'm also gonna show you how you can infuse flavor into that sauce with these guys as well. Grab your stems and some cooking twine. We're gonna make a bouquet garni out of these guys. Take a few parsley stems, 6 or 7 will do, your 3 basil stems, and then some thyme. I'm using some dried thyme. You can use fresh thyme, it'll work just as well. All these guys are gonna add tons of flavor to your sauce, and you don't want them just floating around in the sauce, so grab some cooking twine. We're gonna wrap these bad boys up so that they don't float around and you don't have to fish them out in the end. So here's a quick tutorial on how to make an easy bouquet garni. Take one end of the string, place it on the top of the stems. Take the other end of the string, wrap it around the stems a few times, overlapping that top string. Then make a square knot. It's a good idea to take 2 turns on that first part of the square knot and then cinch it down and tighten it up. And that's all there is to it, and this will keep these herbs in a nice pouch, and then that way there's no surprise stems in the sauce in the end. Wow, moving right along. That takes care of the shrubbery. Now let's hit the next item up to bat. Snatch 1 red onion, slice and dice it. You'll need at least 1 cup or 130 grams. And if you don't have a red onion, a white onion, or a Valdelia, they'll work just as well. For the next item, it's the ultimate definition of loaded for this casserole type recipe, bacon. If bacon's in it, it's gotta be the best type of casserole around. 6 heavenly slices, about 210 grams, cut ever so carefully into bite-sized pieces. All right, it's time for the fun part. It's time to make the sauce, a loaded Alfredo sauce from scratch. Begin by adding 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil to a saute pan over high heat. And while you're doing this, don't forget your broccoli, chicken, and pasta. That broccoli's probably done, so drain it out, put it to the side, and add 3 large handfuls of spinach to the saucepan. And be sure to use a high-sided saucepan. There's a lot of ingredients going into this sauce, so you'll want to make sure that you have plenty of room to put it all in. After about a minute or so, your spinach should be sauteed. It'll be nice and tender. Grab a plate, put it to the side. Perfect, so that takes care of that. To the same pan, drop in the bacon. It's already hot, it's ready to go. Fry the bacon on high heat until it's nearly cooked. And I love to use bacon in homemade casseroles, especially whenever you're gonna make a homemade from scratch sauce. The meat is gonna bring texture, and the grease is the foundation of making that great roux for thickening the sauce. Once that bacon's nearly cooked, drop in that 1 cup or 130 grams of red onion. Saute it until tender or lightly brown around the edges, and that bacon is cooked through. Once the bacon and the onions are just about done, it's time to add 5 cloves of garlic, minced. And if you don't have a mincer like this, I suggest you get one. It works really well and it's easy to clean. But if you don't have one of these, it's not a big deal. You can either use a microplane or just chop it up on a board. Quickly saute the garlic for about 30 seconds until you smell a warm garlicky type smell. Time to deglaze the pan with 1/4 cup or 63 milliliters of a dry white wine. Mix everything well, and then while we're deglazing the pan, it's a great time to add some additional flavor. Drop in 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. And heck, while you're at it, drop in some of that shrubbery, a pinch of the oregano, basil, and parsley. Give it a stir and cook the wine down until it's pretty much all gone. And you know, I can't wait for you to give this a shot. It is the best smell ever. The bacon, the wine, the herbs, the onions. It's just a phenomenal smell that fills the house. After the wine has been cooked all the way down, make a well in the center of the pan and drop in 5 tablespoons of butter. That's about 70 grams. And there's also about 1 to 2 tablespoons of bacon grease in the bottom of the pan. So in total, you're gonna have about 6 to 7 tablespoons of an oil or fat. Snag your flour, 6 tablespoons or 48 grams. It's time for you to make the roux. Drop it into the center of the pan with that bacon grease and butter and mix it in. Your burner, it should be over medium heat, and you can cook the roux for about 2 to 5 minutes. And you know, there's a lot of people out there that really don't know how easy it is to make a homemade sauce. Especially an Alfredo sauce, whenever you make it yourself, it's just so rich, it's creamy, it has that nice cheesy taste. There's not much better out there. Once that roux is cooked through, it's time to add the liquids. 2 cups of cool chicken stock. That's about 500 milliliters. And if you've watched the Sauce and Gravy channel before, you know that pouring a cool liquid into a hot roux, lump-free, every time. And anybody that says otherwise has never tried it. Grab a spatula, scrape the sides and bottom of the pan, and mix everything into the liquid. And remember the bouquet garni? That's a stem flavor bomb. Drop it in. I can assure you, and I guarantee you 100% that you'll agree that this sauce is not gonna be bland. And I know what you're thinking, no more bland sauce in a jar for me, right? And oh, here comes that rich creaminess. 2 cups, 500 milliliters of heavy cream. Give everything a wee bit of a mix and spank in some black pepper. Bring the sauce to a simmer over medium heat. Once it starts to simmer, turn the heat to low and cook for about 2 to 5 minutes to infuse the flavors. Once the sauce is thick and coats the back of a spoon and passes the line test, you're good to go. At this point in the sauce making process, it's a good idea to whip out a spoon and taste the sauce. If If you want to adjust the seasoning, now's the time to do it. You can add some additional salt if necessary. Stellar work. So the sauce, it's almost done. Just a few additional steps. Take it off heat, remove that bouquet garni. Nobody wants stems in their sauce. Your sauce, it's still steaming hot, so it's perfect to drop in that cheese. Parmesan, 1 cup, 63 grams. By dropping the cheese in off heat, you reduce your chances of making an oily or a grainy sauce. Once the Parmesan is melted into the sauce, then you can drop in 1 cup or 110 grams of mozzarella. Haha, this is looking more like a loaded Alfredo sauce by the minute. Nice and cheesy and delicious. And here comes that tasty shrubbery again. Drop in a pinch of the oregano, basil, and parsley. Just make sure that you have some left over so that you can put it on the top of the dish whenever it's done cooking. Alright, here you go. This is the final step of that Alfredo sauce making process. Drop in that sauteed spinach, give it a mix, and you're ready to roll. So perfect timing, the Alfredo sauce is done, the broccoli's been drained, the pasta's been drained, now it's time to work on that chicken. And I really like to poach the chicken for this casserole recipe. Number 1, it's hands off. Number 2, it's tasty, it's nice and juicy. And number 3, if it finishes up a little bit early before you're done with the sauce, you can just let it sit in that hot water until you're ready to put the casserole together. So remove the chicken from the pan, put it into a high-sided mixing bowl. It's time to shred that chicken up. I like to use a hand mixer to shred the chicken. It's quick, it's easy, and it's no hassle, but if you wanted to use a knife and chop it up on a board, that's perfectly fine. Check it out, the hand mixer, it does a pretty dadgum good job. Sweet, now we've knocked out the prep work, we've finished the sauce, now it's time to make the casserole. So you're gonna work in layers here. First, you're gonna pour in 1/3 of that loaded Alfredo sauce into the baking dish. And if you don't have one of these Dutch ovens and you like to make homemade casseroles, you've gotta get one. Add a layer of half of the shredded chicken. Drop half of your broccoli in on top of that. For the next layer, add about half of the pasta. Pour in another 1/3 of your sauce. Add the rest of the shredded chicken. Spread the remaining portion of the broccoli around. Dump all of the pasta in that's left. And pour the remaining portion of your homemade Alfredo sauce on top. And now the fun part, grab a spoon or a spatula and mix it all together. And by making the layers, it really just evenly distributes and helps with the mixing process. Just makes it easier. Grab some more mozzarella, 2 cups, 220 grams, sprinkle it on top. Bake the casserole in a preheated oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit or 190 degrees Celsius for about 20 to 25 minutes until the cheese is lightly golden brown. The moment of truth is here. Your mouth is watering, the kids, they're starving, they're getting restless, the neighbors, they've knocked on the door 10 times, they said, "What smells so good? When should we be over for dinner?" So there you go. Feast your eyes upon this creamy, delicious beauty with that lightly golden brown cheese on top. So that, Sauce and Gravy Nation, is how you make a loaded chicken Alfredo casserole, perfect for back to school or for those cool winter nights. Thank you so much for watching and all of your kind support. If you found this recipe helpful, smash that like button. And if you're not part of the sauce and gravy community quite yet, smash that subscribe button. What are you waiting for? Stay tuned to the latest and greatest sauce making tips and techniques. Thanks again for watching, and remember, it's just you, me, and the sauces. Keep whisking, y'all. That was good.